that I didn't realize that the annular eclipse name stems from I believe it's a Latin word that means ring, which is why it's called annular. Little fun fact. Yeah, so kind of neat. Because I always wondered, where does that come from? Because
I
I
guess
think
annular means like a cycle.
maybe, yeah. So anyway, just a little fun fact. So this new moon eclipse is going to be occurring next week, a week from today, I believe. No, a week from tomorrow, October the 2nd at 2:49 p.m. Eastern, and it will be occurring at 10 degrees 3 minutes. Okay, in Libra, of course. I was looking at this chart for this particular new moon, and there were a few things that really jumped out at me, and it kind of put me into a rabbit hole of information and discovery and putting some pieces together. So I'm excited to share this because I think it's going to be something different than what you're going to be talking about, Madeline. And I know there's a lot to discuss. Just a little bit about Libra. Libra is an air sign, so it's a more masculine type of energy. However, it's ruled by Venus, and Venus is more of a feminine energy, and Libra is about harmony and balance. And I feel like this is and relationship. So it's a really nice blending of the masculine and feminine. If you think about a balanced, or let me use a different word. When you think about a Libra that is in its highest potential, let's just say, Libra is connected to certain body parts. And I wanted to point this out because I've been noticing for myself when we've been talking about the different areas of the body that are affected, it's kind of interesting to pay attention and have a different relationship with your body during these moon cycles to see if something comes up around these areas. So for Libra, the lower back, kidneys, urinary bladder function, veins, and skin. So we have the seasons are changing. So there might be some, dryness in your skin, perhaps, or, maybe you're not drinking enough water or whatever might show up for you. Just pay attention. Lower back also relates to the kidneys. A lot of times people have lower back pain. It is, has a direct connection to some fear or something that somebody's holding on to. It's a really huge part of, the messages that our body can share with us. Okay, a few other little tidbits, which I'm sure Madeline will talk about more in depth. Reminders: retrograding planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron. A lot of reviewing, a lot of recalibrating, a lot of revising. I know I've had a number of people say to me they're really tired of having to, like, they're having to review all this stuff, like they felt like they had it, but it's all part of the bigger picture and allowing us to refine where we're heading. We obviously, with this this eclipse season, we have the nodes are very directly involved. And what I find really fascinating is that the south node is quite close to this particular moon and eclipse. So we're letting go of maybe some old structures, old beliefs, in order to make way for the new. New moons are about new beginnings. So there's definitely, to me, it feels like an ending and a beginning all rolled into one. Okay, so here's the fun part. Sun, moon, and Black Lilith, literally at the same degree, off by 30 minutes, which is minuscule. And what I find so fascinating about this is we don't talk about Black Moon Lilith a ton, because Black Moon Lilith is not a planet, it's a point. And it's actually it's an area of void or absence, because there's nothing there. It is on the path of the moon, and it kind of mirrors where the Earth has been in the elliptical, and it's about 9 degrees away from the moon. So what I find really fascinating about this is that Black Moon Lilith in mythology was actually Adam's wife, not necessarily the first wife. So not necessarily Eve at first. And Lilith, was born of the earth, just like Adam. So Adam and Lilith were equals. He was the representative of the masculine. She was the representative of the feminine. And she wanted her own autonomy. She wanted her own sovereignty. She was happy to be a partner with him, but she wanted to make her own choices, her own decisions. And so she represents those feminine qualities of being able to claim your own identity, to embrace your individuality, to express yourself authentically, which I love. I love that about her. Well, because she would not submit to Adam, and because she was not willing to kind of fill in the wifely duties to his demands, she was thrown out of the Garden of Eden, and she became very angry and upset. And so she then began to represent the let's just say more primal qualities of the feminine, which people tend to look down upon. And many women, I think, would contest that, or attest that we have had a lot of good girl conditioning. We have to fit in, we have to acquiesce, we need to be nice, we need to be quiet, we need to be polite. And those are all things that Lilith was saying, I call bullshit on that. I can be my most authentic, powerful self and still be in partnership with you without feeling like I have to submit to you. And now in this time of more of the feminine rising, and that doesn't necessarily mean just women, it could be feminine in all forms. This is, to me, the perfect time for us to really look at ourselves and our roles within relationships with ourselves, with other people. That's that Libra energy. What are we maybe not seeing in how we're showing up in relationship or with ourselves? And being able to then show up authentically in our power. And this, to me, feels like just a huge spotlight, highlight, not really a spotlight, but a highlight, paying attention to this right now, because we've got the sun and the moon. So we have the masculine and the feminine and Lilith literally at the same degree during a new moon eclipse in Libra. Relationships, the masculine and feminine qualities. So when I saw that, I went a little bit bananas as far as feeling like this is a really significant opportunity for us. And the one other aspect about this is oh geez, my notebook just closed, is that the moon is squaring Mars. So there might be some emotional tension that could potentially lead to conflict. And there's also Mercury in the mix. So, Mercury has to do with thinking, with communicating. So, maybe there could be some emotional activation of some kind, using your logic, using your thinking, using your words to be able to resolve something that comes up, or to communicate something that maybe has an emotional connection for you. So just to bang the drum a little bit more about the Black Moon Lilith thing, it's, where in your life is there a primal desire or a void or absence that may be ready to be filled, and that maybe you're in a prime position right now to take the qualities of action of the masculine and the receptivity of the feminine and blend them together to be able to step forward in your own true, authentic, most divine feminine. I think of divine feminine as that strong yet soft feminine place, whether you're a man or a woman. But I think this is particularly potent for women who have felt like they've been stifled under the patriarchy for eons. So this is not a feminist rant. It's more just about being able to, I'm having a trouble with the words, because it's this felt sense. It's like literally this like fire burning inside that's ready to come out. And I feel like a lot of women are in that similar position right now. So yeah. So that was probably not on your radar to go into that depth, was it, Madeline?
Actually, there is some, I'm kind of taking it from a slightly different angle, because I'm using the fixed star information that the nodes are on. And this was the same point that there was an eclipse in Libra in March 25th, 2024 recently, which The nodes are at about 15 degrees Aries. North node was at about 15 degrees Aries, and that was hitting at about 5 degrees Libra. And this eclipse, the nodes are at 5 degrees Libra, and I'll show you. And but first, I'm going to show you this fixed star information because it's relevant. It has a connection to what you're saying, but it's a slightly different take on it. And the take is more about releasing the harlatan. I was going to show it to you here. I had it worked out. So this is a part of the sky that represents the star Zanaya, which represents the harlatan. We have it's this name brings smile to a sort of after Mercury. Let me find the right spot. Reputation. Basically, it's about the harlatan who is shall we say, motivated from a shadow aspect Venus. So she's doing it for money. She's doing it for for whatever reason. I can't find the darn thing. I had it highlighted to make, but you can go and read that. And it's basically releasing, shall we say, ways that we've compromised. In a way, that's what you're saying, but mostly in anything. It's a metaphor for anything that we're doing out of vanity, self-will. Because the harlatan will be operating without spiritual faith. She doesn't believe in abundance. So it's basically making choices in relationships, a shadow aspect relationship where we're getting into partnership agreements, which is Libra, that are based on somehow not valuing ourselves or not being authentic to our true desires, what we really want. Basically ways we harlot in ourselves, and the metaphor of that, and that's what Libra, the shadow aspect of Libra can be, because you want the connection so bad. That's what we're releasing here with the South Node in Libra, that we want a connection so bad that we're compromising our values or our self-value. And so we're releasing that. So that's the big release here. Like, for instance, but in general, shadow aspect masculinity is kind of dying. The sort of that, but basically lust energy. It's the part of the sky that represents lust, basically. So we're releasing a lust source based choice. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in history, harlots were also considered very sexually promiscuous, or using their sexual prowess or their sensual ways to seduce or manipulate. And so I think that directly connects to what you were saying about the shadow aspects of Venus, is using your beauty or using some sensual part of yourself to benefit you without concern for someone else. And realizing you don't need to do that.
Yeah, and based on lower pleasures, because Venus represents what pleases us. So we've been on a cycle of, because this is an 18-year cycle. The last eclipse happened in 2006. Most people that are in this cycle hitting as an adult are learning big lessons around externalized ideas around love, which is self-will, head-based. And so that's disintegrating now. That's we're shifting now into, because if I'll show you, really interesting, I'll show you something. This is the first eclipse was in, I'll show you something very interesting. We had Venus in, so the first eclipse happened in this eclipse, in other words, the Libra eclipse, but this exact eclipse happened before in 2006. So a lot of people's relationships, I got divorced then, a lot of people I know got divorced then, ended relationships, big endings, because we had Libra at that South Node part, lower degree, in that part where we're letting go of relationships and partnerships that were based on lower density, fear-based shadow aspect Venus, attachment, codependency. So anyway, but this year, this part of our chart was triggered because it's hitting, the moon was at where the nodes are. So I will show. So this is going to come in as 1. So, and then I'm going to put this eclipse here on top of it and show you that we are, see, there's been a trade. Now the nodes were at 15 degrees, but the South Node is hitting right on the moon here at that exact degree of that star, Zanaya. And then the eclipses are hitting where the nodes were. So we're now consciously making some major shifts that an earlier eclipse. So some people had to really take some more karmic lessons in that window, really preparing. But the most important thing is that Venus on the initial eclipse was in Pisces, conjoining Saturn, which means it was a Libra-based eclipse, Venus-based eclipse, which means it was blocked. We didn't see any movement from that eclipse. Now, but Venus was in exaltation, in divine love, in its highest position. So from there until now, we've gone through a cooking process, ego death process, where we became more aligned with divine love. And so we had to change, let go. So there's been about a, 6 months journey here.
Yeah.
So we've learned something in this time. We've released something. We've become more connected to what is true, and divine love. And I was doing a fair this weekend. I worked a fair, and it was like so many young people going into divine partnership, like true love cards hitting in their heart spot. Like, it was a successful time. It was fun. So this eclipse is the final release. Like, people are quitting. There's this general energy of quitting pornography and letting go of that lusty base, because the Venus tends to represent the young woman, the younger woman. And so if the South nodes are there, the South node, we're releasing that lusty based thing, and we're going into a higher spiritual based love because it's empty. And so we can't sustain that for the long haul when Saturn's in the picture, which it was on that first eclipse, which was this one. Saturn was there. So I got the wrong eclipse up. So now we're going for this growth. We're going transformation. We have Venus is going to be in Scorpio. So that's going to, so here's the thing about this eclipse. This eclipse is only being aspected by the outer planets and Jupiter, because when you study the original eclipse that happened in this series, which happened in 1736, I've been studying this eclipse, where the planets were at that time, it shows you what planets are going to be the affecting planets in these eclipses. So these are the planets that are going to affect your chart. So you want to look at the outer planets, and you want to look at Jupiter. Now, this outer planet thing is just insanely amazing. I mean, we're about to shift paradigm, because all these planets are about to shift into a whole nother sign. They spend a long time in each sign, so the energies are going to completely shift in 2025. And this eclipse in our chart is preparing us for the big shift in the paradigm that's coming up in 2025. So you want to look in your birth chart, and you want to see what the outer planets are, what contact, because that's where this Pisces points. Because I'm going to show you something today. I hope I'm not confusing people, but where this today is, here we are. We have Mercury point. That's where we're pointing in our birth chart. We want to go that way. That we want to flow. Let the kite flow us in this week, and wherever Pisces 28 degree is in our chart is where we're going to have really powerful universal assistance. If we head that way, we consciously head towards that 28 degree point in our chart, wherever that hits, what that means, what house that's in, right? So because we're in eclipse gateway right now, so we're already seeing the ecliptical changes somewhere in our lives. We're already starting to see some of these shifts. But so the 3 outer planets are going to be the ones that are going to be a part of this shift, and I'll go through each one. Pluto is going to cause a big transformation in whatever house that's in, and it's at the end degree, anaretic degree, which means it is the end of that journey. We are done. We are totally transformed in whatever house that is. From 2007, 8, we have now become entirely different. We have a whole new, that part of our life, the Capricorn house, completely different. Neptune is causing us to not be sure, and to causing us to let go, and to kind of get out of self-will and sort of be open. But a lot of people are feeling like nebulous. This is very confusing, because you can't be sure about what's changing in a state of transition, in a state of flux, because we're in a state of flux right now, in between. And then Uranus is helping us make the changes. Well, Uranus represents the changes that are occurring, that are going to liberate us, put us more on our true authentic path, put us more in our true authentic relationships. Again, wherever these transits are impacting our chart, we're going to be more liberated. We're going to be more, it's actually a really nice eclipse. But we'll talk about some challenges here in a minute. But Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus are tilting us to transform our lives in the direction of a more authentic, true, more of who we truly are, liberated, living as who we truly are more, and having a total and utter transformation because of the that Pluto. We're at the end of that journey, so we're really transformed here. And then Jupiter, of course, is in on this eclipse, and it's sextiling. Well, what is it doing? It's a wide trine. It's not really impacting this eclipse. I guess you could give it a 10-degree orb for eclipses, but basically Jupiter is going to give us the wisdom and the insight or the information to make a really higher consciousness decision here, or to make to be guided. So Jupiter is going to come in our chart and show us a sort of some wisdom and guidance where to go. So life transformative eclipse. Our lives will not be the same after this eclipse. We will feel differently. We will our perceptions are going to change because of this kite that's happening right now. So there's perceptions, beliefs, things changing, which are going to help you make the new decisions, because eclipses changes the direction of our lives. And the reason we're not in that direct, and it's forcing us more in alignment. We've been out of alignment, going not in our true destiny. So the eclipse puts us in our true destiny. Something has to happen to our perception to make us make that choice to see differently. So there can usually be some kind of a crisis or a struggle or the end of a road, something failing, getting fired, something that we're not in alignment with. So we're having to let that go, because eclipse is all the nodes, the north node and the south node. We're always letting something go, and we're always headed somewhere new. So we're releasing an old way, old living, completely old. We're leaving this old paradigm. And a lot of people that I know, like for instance, I just heard on some report yesterday on YouTube that something like 50% CEOs are quitting, and like a lot of like fashion houses are sort of having a really hard time. People are really stepping out and walking their own individual path and going the route of independent. And it's starting to become really loud that these old structures are starting to dissolve here. It's not the way we can sustain the earth anymore. That's the same in our life. Something is going to go away. But it's something that we can't bring with us, because it's not our higher destiny. It's the old outdated thing. So the best thing in these eclipses is to be aware and open-minded and adjust, and to seek the higher. Knowing our chart is going to help, because you can see where your changes are going to come. And this is the basically, I know it sounds really corny, but it's kind of like the dawning of the new age. People are going to be liberated. So you're seeing masses of people, and we are going to have some tough stuff coming up ahead. We do have some crazy energies with Mars opposing Pluto. So, I mean, people are getting very emboldened and liberated and transformed and in their power. So we're going to see some interesting times ahead, because Pluto is the planet of, when it goes into Aquarius, it's the energy of revolutions. But hopefully in the age of Aquarius, it is more passive. But that is our destiny here. We are looking, power is going to be restored to Aquarian, the people. So I think that covers it. Go ahead.
There's something I wanted to mention too about this. The new moon energy tends to be a very introspective inner journey. It's about accessing those parts of yourself to determine how you would like to move forward in this new moon cycle. And eclipses to me also feel rather introspective, and all of the retrograde energy with all those outer planets being in retrograde, that's also very introspective. And so, yes, like you were saying before, like you were talking about moving towards these, where, Pisces is in your chart, and, how Pluto is moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius, and Uranus is moving out of Taurus into Gemini. There are those moves. And, obviously Neptune moving out of Pisces into Aries, that's very, very significant, which is why I think you started with that one in particular, but it also feels not but and it also feels like because those planets aren't actually moving forward quite yet, it is still that time of excavating some of the inner stuff in order to really truly leave it behind and step forward as the energy builds to do that. But this right now feels like not necessarily action time, it's more clarity time, and maybe even feeling the sadness around having to let go of something, or feeling that resoluteness around without it, or I'm just giving examples of what it might show up like for people.
It actually will show. I understand what you're saying, and that's a very good observation because of the retrograde motion. But these are the outer planets in retrograde. It's not the inner planets other than Saturn. But what's happening is that, no, you're going to see action and changes. The eclipses are going to, but what we're doing is we're going back and doing something that we should have been doing. So in other words, not should have, like, we have a parent there, but I mean, like, like for instance, Neptune, we're going over. Neptune in retrograde makes us more connected to a spiritual belief, transforming some sort of spiritual perception, which then is going to enable us to go forward. And then we've got Pluto is going back and making sure we've really cleared all this karma so we can go forward. And then we've got Uranus going retrograde, going to make sure, because when these planets are going retrograde, they're going back over a part of our chart. So it's making sure you're not leaving. We're making sure we're going, the changes where we're headed. The planets have already passed there, but we haven't connected with that fully yet. So now we're going to connect with that and take forward motion, because this is an eclipse of major change. So we're going to see action and perceptions shifting that instigate action. And Mars is a factor in this eclipse. So it's like in the original eclipse. So if there's a Mars square, it can be there can be conflict, there can be some challenges, there can be a lot of busyness, a lot of action and doing and moving. Like if you're suddenly moving, you got to move. But yes, this is an active change. This not like the other one of this one, which was Venus, its ruler, was in conjunction, was in with Saturn, which blocks. And in this one, actually, I want to look at that again, because I think Venus squares. What is Venus doing? So Venus is trining Saturn. So it's kind of like saying that whatever happened in March 25th that was blocked, completely blocked, is now okay. We've done some growth. We've grown. We're in a good energy around some kind of ability now to really commit to something and to really take the right actions supported. This is good. And even though Venus is in detriment in Scorpio, it just basically, if it has a trine to Saturn, there's going to be a very positive angle on that, which might be more passionate, which might be more revelatory truths coming out that enable people to see the truth, and then enabling to make commitments in romance, because this is a romantic, it's a partnership. That's the thing about Libra. It's about how do we make agreements, and like how to work with the other person in a way that you're not giving too much, doing too much. And often if it's fear-based in your relationship, you're going to be overdoing, overgiving. And so it's basically, where do we now create a even more balanced, and that word gets used a lot with Libra, but basically a fair, the word is really fair. And neither person is 100% happy with the Libra card in a lawsuit. No one's like jumping for, well, I mean, yes, you could really win well, but mostly both people take a little loss in the Libra card. In tarot, you balance out, everybody wins a little bit and everyone loses a little bit, So in a partnership, you have to sort of make sure that you're not losing. And that's what the South Node eclipse is, because you might give too much or want the relationship too much, that you harlequin yourself a little bit. And so that's what we're letting go of. And so that throws the situation into an unfair dynamic. And so now we're finding that agreement of that works, because it's both people happy in the agreement, as it were. I'm trying not to use that word. because it's just used so much that it
It
doesn't have
is.
an
You're
understanding. You don't understand what it means. And what it really means is that nobody is being in a situation, nobody in this situation is not happy. Like both people are somewhat happy here. So yes, so Mercury's combust in it. So we may experience losses in our Mercury houses. But one of my Vedic teacher thinks the Mercury's exalted in this eclipse. So maybe there's, and I'm like, how can you, because Mercury in Vedic is in Virgo, which is really strong, and it's in exaltation, but it's being combust by the sun. So I'm hearing two different stories. So either your Mercury
well, it
house,
wouldn't be exalted here because it's tropical. It's totally, it's
yeah,
a different system.
yeah, but I always look at both. I always watch
Yeah.
both. Even when I do readings, I'm always seeing, because then I can see kind of, because they both are true, you know. So
Yeah.
in the Vedic, if you're going to watch a Vedic report, you're going to see that Mercury's in exaltation, and so our Mercury houses could do very well in your Vedic chart. And Mercury,
That would mean that that's where the moon is in, the sun and moon are in Virgo, not Libra.
yeah,
So I
the
agree with you. There's
same.
always overlap,
It's the
but
same house in Vedic, just a different sign. It would be in Virgo. So wherever you have Libra, it's just going to be the same house. But Mercury is an exaltation. So that's where I'm not sure which way the Mercury thing's going to go. But on the whole, this is a really good eclipse, and it is a relationship eclipse, like you say. So I think a lot of people are coming into relationships right now, and into the right one. I think a lot of people are cooked and ready. And if you're already in a relationship, you're going to come into your soul agreement, your soul contracts. You're going to find the give and take balance. You're going to stop giving too much. Usually women give too much to the relationship, like, that sort of, women have been programmed into thinking that we can't live without a relationship, because we come out of a dark era where women had to be perfect for the man, and you couldn't get your inheritance if you didn't have if you weren't married. So they would just marry anybody, just to get their inheritance. So now we're like, we were programmed, if you're not perfect and you look beautiful and you look really young all the time, you're going to lose your man. That was my mother's program. But it's like now, like you say, the feminine, we're not, in this eclipse, we're not afraid to lose. The feminine is stepping forward and knowing that she's enough and she doesn't need salvation from the man, but that the man is sent through support. So I think that's it. I'm not sure if I was off of train of thinking there, but this is a positive.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to show the impact chart for people, because I think, like the charts you're showing, Madeline, I think it helps to give a visual.
Sure.
To show people, whether you understand how to read these charts or not for yourself, you can kind of take a screenshot of this, or have two side-by-side screens open, and you could see, if you have anything, if you look for this little Libra sign, if you have anything between 5 and 15 degrees, you're going to feel this. And then
Especially
the other
your
area,
cardinals. Yeah.
yes. And the other, yes, well, we're going to go there. So also there's a square. And I think I like to mention the squares because that tension, we feel that tension, and it tends to be highlighted for us because it's something we as humans, I think, tend to not like to experience, feeling that tension or stress or conflict. So there's a square here in Capricorn between 5 and 15. And then again here in Cancer between 5 and 15. And then we have an opposition in Aries between 5 and 15 degrees. So, you can look at your chart, you can look at the where these signs are. You can see on this, most charts will tell you the degree points. And that will give you a little bit of an indication that this could be a particular moon cycle that you will really feel it. And it's going to push you towards change in some fashion, give you a little nudge.
Yeah, you can always assume if you're cardinal that your life completely changes during cardinal eclipses, because it's going to change. It hits everyone. If cardinals, their lives always change in cardinal eclipses completely, because it's hitting in your angular houses, and those are the most, if you have points on these angular houses, there's the most shifting types of transits. So cardinals,
and if you don't
completely change.
And if you don't know what cardinals are, it's the Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn.
Yeah.
Those are the cardinal signs. So if you have any any, your sun, moon, or rising in those, that's going to be a doozy
Big
for you.
shift.
Yeah. Before you get into the 12 signs, Madeline, I want to share the card, the flower
Sure.
for everyone. That is the energy for this Libra new moon eclipse. So we have the strawberry blossom. I mean, talk about, this is like a bold card. I think this came up the last cosmic chat. I don't remember what sign, but I wanted to read a little bit from the Lotus Way website. So this is a Lotus Way flower evolution deck. That tells a little bit about the energy of this, because I feel like it epitomizes what's coming up for us right now. So strawberry blossom dissolves the habit of expecting or preparing for the worst and gives us a fresh outlook, a sense that anything is possible. It cuts through pessimism, worry, and negative thoughts. Strawberry blossom helps us have a deeper understanding of ourselves and our infinite possibilities for personal growth. So I just love this one. And sorry, go ahead.
Well, it has a Uranian, because Uranus is electrical energy, and it has that kind of Uranian energy to it. That surprise, that Uranus. There is an element of surprise. Yeah.
There is, yeah. And the other thing with this particular one, if anyone is interested, there is an elixir of this actual flower by itself that you can, a lot of times they're in blends, but this one is available on its own. And so it might be kind of fun if anyone's interested in taking the elixir. It's just in honey, and you just 5 drops 5 times a day, put it in water, tea, just under your tongue. And it's amazing the differences that you will feel.
Really?
And so really supportive, and it might be fun to experiment and see how it affects you. And I'd love to hear if you do. So strawberry blossom, very exciting.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
We're going to look at the 12 signs.
Let's do it.
Where is my chart? Come forward, chart. There we go.
Do you have your cards, Madeline?
Let me get them. Yes.
Oh no, she was caught.
I had my headphones on.
Yeah. So it's a very exciting time, this eclipse time period. And I'm excited to share the
right
flowers
here.
with everyone, and Madeline's going to come and there she is. She's back, and share what's happening in the stars.
All right, here we go. Just pulling my act together here. All right.
I know forgot you were connected.
Well, I know. You see me. It's kind of like a comedy, isn't it? All right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we are going to do Aries first. And that's going to hit Aries is going to hit your, let me just speak for a little bit, because I forgot to because I got to do it to the now.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. All right. So Madeline's going to reset the chart. I was going to see too, there were, what I think is so interesting is that when we look at these eclipses, and Madeline, you mentioned it earlier, back in October 2006 was the last time, this was the setup, for people to reflect and contemplate you can look back at pictures, or you can look back at, if you have a calendar or journals or things that go back to that time, and see what was happening in your world. And I think it's kind of fun to go back and reread my journals, or go back and look at photos, and my memory to be jogged around big life events or experiences that I had, and how I responded to something that happened, or how I felt at that time. And now to imagine being in a similar situation, or how I feel in this moment of, wow, I would not want to go back to that, or wow, I've come a really long way since then. And I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm making progress, when sometimes it doesn't feel like I'm moving forward. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going in circles.
Good point, because looking at your life in 2006 I think it was September 22nd is this exact eclipse, 2006. So yeah, if you have any, go back and read about that, because it's going to happen again, but only a even higher level. So Aries is going to have this this is Aries. Aries, holding it up nice and long, in your 12th house. Pisces covers your 12th house. Very major total life release of karmic patternings, old, I mean, this is a total spiritual shift. And again, I like to use that word differently in a sense that it's just more like a higher upgrade in your way of operating in life. That's more in faith, more trusting of your soul. It's like an old, really big old habit dying. Like you could, if you were an alcoholic or drinking, you could really quit. You have some sort of spiritual, you could get a big vision and a dream that you're being guided to your new life. A spirit could come through, a past life relationship could come in here, because we're looking at Libra. So that Libra, that's where the kite is tilting, but the Libra, this is a big seventh life transformation, a seventh house transformation in relationships, completely changing something about your relationship, going into shall we say, co-partnership, and create, and this is why that 12th house is important, because it's really shifting you into a more soul aligned, committed situation that really takes you into soul contracted relationship, and really releasing lust based or security based or image based. Sometimes people get in relationships for living situations. So we're just talking all of that out of the picture, and really stepping into the true, authentic, destined journey for you that you've been on, because this is a seventh house. This eclipse in 2006 started you, purifying you for relationships. And then the March one, you had to really face some really lower density patterning in your operating in relationships. Lust-based Aries can be that way. So they're Mars ruled. So it's like, they're pretty charged up in that department. So Aries are really going to have a big spiritual transformation around their divine love. And they would have created kind of some karmic patterning. So they're really clearing some sort of karmic mess in romance and in love and in relationships. And they're aligning more with a spiritually more higher divine. And it may really spark a lot of passion in the bedroom, this eclipse for Aries, because it's that Venus being in Scorpio. Okay, so then let's don't forget the negative shadow aspect of the eclipse. There could be conflict, and you could be losing a patterning, or losing or ending a relationship, or a relationship you've been ending since that initial eclipse now finally hits the total dust. And now you step into your more divine partnership, or you're free to do that because you don't want these kinds of relationships anymore. So yeah, that could play out too. So there could be some argument and conflicts in relationships that you've been in process of in. Go ahead.
Yeah, so interesting. This flower to me is very it feels rather fiery.
Oh,
There's
certainly
a lot
does.
happening here. This is the wild hawkweed. This activates wholeness, and the message is fall in love with yourself. And I find this is such an interesting card for Aries, because Aries are very independent. Aries is the opposite of, on the opposite end of the spectrum here to Libra. And when you're in love with yourself, then you can come into a relationship from a different position, from a different place. And this flower also cuts through non-constructive desires and wants. And so, Madeline, you were talking about the lustful nature of, letting go of some of that. And this actually speaks directly to that, cutting through that, getting rid of that, the desires that aren't really true to us, or that are honorable or moving us forward in some way, into a place of wholeness, which is ultimately the whole point. So,
what's interesting is that orange color is that orange passion chakra. And this card fell out, which is the lust card. in retro, in shadow, that's the lust card. So it's kind of funny.
That is funny. That is funny.
Okay.
All right. So Taurus.
I told you this Mercury opposing Neptune, squaring my sun and my ascendant. I mean, this is why I'm dropping everything. You should see my floor. It's got cars all over it. Oh, God. Taurus. Okay. So Taurus are going to have this eclipse in your 6th house. So if a health issue shows up for Taurus here, So again, there's something you do in your life that throws you off center and kelter to your health in relationships. So for instance, you on some level are uh maybe an example would be you drink when you go out with this person because they like to drink, and you want this relationship to work, and you can only connect with them if you drink, but drinking is really giving you headaches and you can't do it, so you have to quit drinking. And then you realize this relationship is not right, or it's based on you guys, you always have to drink to be with this person. That's just one option. And if you're in a healthy relationship, you are perhaps servicing them too much and trying to be of high service to a point that it stresses you. You do too much for them. You're throwing yourself out of alignment in a work relationship, partnership, if someone you hire because you don't want to lose them, you think you without them, and you're tolerating sort of bad behavior, but something is leaving around your sixth house, which is causing you to be stressed or sick. And it's bad habit, and it's how you throw yourself out of alignment and give too much and show up more for the other people than you do for yourself. So a big transformation in your work environment. Maybe you're stressing yourself out at work because you're trying to please everybody in your work environment. And now you got to let that go. You may have to quit a job. That could be something, but then a new job, better job comes in that's much more in alignment, that you feel much more at peace. That you're going to have a total transformation and see how you just are giving too much to the situation. And that you just, it's really just, it can be ego just because you want everyone to think you're so great. You know, sometimes that's a little bit what's behind that. So it is transformation in your health, you know, and becoming more aligned with a spiritual in a way because of that Neptune in that Pisces house, which is your ninth house. So, you know, you're having to learn how to flow more and find your true authentic tribe and restructure your life to a more true authentic group. Or you know, the 11th house is long-term goals and things. So, you know, restructuring your life towards more authentic destiny. And so you're going to have to release some bad habits and stressful relationships. So that sort of sums it up, I think. There you go for Taurus.
Okay, so Taurus, we have the Royal Poinciana. This activates conviction, and the message is ask for what you want. It brings in clarity and decisiveness. And I feel like this is so important for the pieces that you just talked about. When it comes to your health, having clarity around what it is that you need to do, and then the conviction to do it. Same with the job, you know, and asking for what you want. Maybe you really want a raise and you need to speak up because you're working crazy long hours and you're not being compensated properly. This is going to give you that push that you need. And this moon cycle, especially with it being eclipse, may really highlight this for you to be able to address that and access that. So I really love this flower for Taurus.
Yeah, you could get Taurus wherever these houses hit. You could meet your true love, or you could get in a relationship with someone from work. Just to throw that in there. Yes, you could meet someone that you work with and they become your person, or you join in soul contract, because again, sixth house can be a work related thing that happens, and that puts you with your true person. All right,
that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, Gemini.
So did I do that too quick? Because when I go back and I try to find it, I can never see it. Okay, Gemini are going to be having this eclipse in your fifth house. So this is great for Gemini. This is a relationship eclipse. This is a relationship eclipse no matter what house it hits. But a friend becomes potentially a passionate, true person. You let go of a friendship. You just had an eclipse in your sixth house. Wait, sorry. No, that's Virgo. I know a Gemini Virgo. That's why I did that. You have this eclipse in your fifth house. You may be ending friendships that are just, again, you're just in it because you get praise, or it's not really, you just get attention, or it's just friends for friends' sake. You feel like you need to have friends. Anyway, you're releasing some old friendships that the partnership does not feel that you are giving evenly to. And so you're going to let go of these friendships, and then you're really going to bring in a brand new friendship that most likely is Libra eclipses can be partnerships, collaboratives in the fifth house, creative projects, potentially a entrepreneurial venture with your soul contracted mate. They're going to be a friend. You're going to meet this person as friends through friends, potentially. It could be a relationship that started out as just a physical sort of lusty type relationship, or one that was just sort of friends with benefits that now turns into the true deal. What else? You could get into conflict with friends, or let's go shadow. I don't want to leave you out in the dry without some guidance through the shadow aspects of these eclipses. So you may be ending a friendship that has a big falling out. Or you end a creative project that is no longer in alignment or seems to be universally supported in your life. What else can you can get pregnant? Don't forget that one. It's a big one. I just did a reading for someone and she said, I can't believe you got the day I was going to have my baby, because I got the exact day she was going to have her baby. She's going to probably watch this. And but yeah, these are the sorts of transits where you can predict. If you have a planet there and you're pregnant, that'll be the day you're having your baby in your fifth house. You know?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah. So
okay.
yeah, I think that covers it for Gemini.
Okay, so we have the navel orange blossom for Gemini. This has like a warmth to it. It warms the heart, and it magnifies feelings of playfulness and sensuality. So when I think of sensuality and fifth house romance, it's kind of this like playful, flirty sort of a vibe. And you also just really feel happy to be alive. It's just a kind of a feel good type energy with the navel orange blossom for Gemini.
Sorry, I'm missing a card.
Gemini's gonna have some fun. Oh, you're missing a card. Is it Cancer?
No, it's not actually. It's the Capricorn card. I know it's here somewhere. And it's here. Is it? Oh. All right, it'll show up. If not, I'll just have to use my hand or some sign. All right, we'll keep going. All right, so Cancer card says, let's go ahead, show the Cancer card. So you guys are having this eclipse in your ninth. Libra is over your fourth house. I'm sorry, fourth house. So prepare you to move. I know pretty much all Cancers, even Sun Cancers, Moon Cancers, you're probably moving. This is sort of a much more in aligned place to live. You're going to have to let go of another area. Obviously, you can't live in two places at the same time. So one place of, if this is your house, the fourth house is the Cancer house. And so this is a really nice eclipse, because this is kind of like Cancers going home, finding their home. And it is most likely, again, all the cardinals are going to be aspected career change and relationship change, because it's all the angular houses. So most likely Cancers are making a big move in their living situation, which is much more in alignment with their true destiny, liberating them. This is a eclipse that could bring the death of a mother, or a huge transformation and healing around mother wounds that really empower you, which now enable you to be in a more less fear-based relationship. What else can I say? So shadow aspect would be obviously a living situation comes crashing down. There's an earthquake, but if it does, then it's to move you for the benefit. Ending an agreement, like ending, if I have it in my fourth house, so I may move in from where I am, most likely. It's squaring my nodes, so it's totally destiny changing in alignment. Or I don't move, or you don't move from where you are, but you start a project or start to build a new home somewhere and prepare for that. Or you move in with someone, or someone moves in with you. Or you go stay with your mother for a while and live with your mother, take care of her for a while, or your mother moves in.
Not sure how some people would feel
I'm trying to make
that.
sure, did I let go of shadow? Just ending contracts, or again, it can always involve some kind of a conflict. Then you have Mars in your first house, so try not to get too heated up in your family and get any conflicts. Try not to, it's hard.
Yeah, it can be. All right, we have the giant spider lily
Yeah.
for Cancer. And this flower is just reminding you to feel that sense of freedom and lightness. You know, I know that moving is not necessarily an easy thing to do, but what if that move creates simplicity in your life and creates an opportunity for you to feel lighthearted and free? And this also brings a sense of joy, just the joy maybe in the simplicity, the joy in the freshness of a new place, which is almost like a new beginning in a way. So the giant spider lily for Cancer.
And it's interesting because it's in purple. So it's kind of like the 12th house. So it could be travel. Could be travel.
Never know.
Yeah. And some
you
sort
have
of
to travel to
nice
find your
spiritual
home.
enlightenment. And I feel like that's a nice energy. It's almost like going to your true soul's home, you know, your true soul's home, which is what this is all about, this eclipse. So nice for Cancer.
It is nice.
So, yeah. So Leo. Okay, Leo. So Leo are going to have this eclipse Libra in the 3rd house. So an eclipse in the 3rd house can change absolutely so many things too, even though it's not a cardinal house. The 3rd house, you see, you have to look at the rest of your chart, remember, for everybody, that we really need to look at everything that's going on in your chart. But a 3rd house eclipse can indicate that you're either moving or that you get in a relationship and something else is going on in your chart in those houses, because in a 3rd house eclipse, your environment completely changes. Your neighborhood changes, the people that are around you change. Now you can also lose a sibling. I've seen some eclipses occur in 3rd house where a sibling could get sick or something, or you end a relationship with a sibling, or a sibling relationship is mended. Now it could turn into conflict in this eclipse because it's a Mercury house, and depending on what's going on in your chart and what Mars is doing to your chart, otherwise you could have a conflict, ending of a situation, ending of an agreement. The 3rd house is communication. It can be contracts and agreements, or it's communication, it's businesses. You could end a business. I've seen the 3rd house eclipses, people end their business. You could end your social media network could collapse or something bad happens to it, but if it does, it's okay, you're going to do a better one. You could start your website. You could change a job and a career, and you start a business. You quit a job somewhere else in your chart, shows that, because the 3rd house is very much a work house. So it's, again, you could quit a job and start a new job. So yeah, I think that shadow aspect could be you get in a conflict, or a local conflict with local neighbors, and you have to sort of defend yourself with Mars Cancer. I think that, I mean, you know, these eclipses are very transformative. So whatever happens during these eclipses, they're going to, the result is that something really is different, very different. It feels different. So it's all going to be better. So there might be a conflict resolved. Go ahead.
Well, Leo has the date palm flower, and this flower, I know we're attempting not to use the word balance so much for Libra, but this really is all about bringing where in your life is something out of balance. Where are you going to extreme one way or to extreme the other way? It's bringing things back into a state of equilibrium. How about we'll do that? We'll do equilibrium.
There we go.
And what the other part of this too, and I think this is so fascinating because the 3rd house is also, you know, relates to the mind and thinking and communicating. And so when we think about things, we're often thinking in terms of A plus B equals C. If I do this, then that happens. This is a reminder to shake us up and shake us out of that, because in these energies, we don't necessarily know if A plus B equals C. we have no idea if this, then that, because so many things are changing. And so opening our minds up, expanding our sense of the world to be open to the possibilities and not think so linearly and so like
Wow.
you know, so it feels very, to me, it feels very optimistic for Leos. This might be a challenge for Leos, depending on the other aspects in their chart, to shift their perspective and the way they think about things. But just an invitation.
I love how these cards will pop up a whole aspect of the third house or the house that I didn't think about that I dropped, which is a big one, which is how we perceive and how we process. So if it's Libra there, so somehow you're processing relationships, or your thinking or your perception is out of alignment in relationships, or your thinking is negative, or, you know, so it is an internal processing as well that changes what you think about your relationship. Completely changes.
And what you think about the relationship could affect how you experience the relationship.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously.
Yeah. Change in perception.
Mm-hmm.
And a belief, which then you, let's say you change a belief about somebody that's around you because you're around them now and you have a whole new perception, and you kind of say, well, maybe this is my person. Because I used to think that I could never be in love with somebody who is a lumberman, you know. And you meet a lumberman and you're like, wow, that's not the way I thought I was going to go. So that can happen too, a big shift.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Okay. Virgo.
So you guys have this hitting in your I think it's your second house. So basically, when you have an eclipse in your second house, I have experienced the second house eclipse here. And basically, one way of earning money can go away. Now, sometimes the second house eclipse, again, depending on your relationship status, I mean, family, or somebody could pass and you get an inheritance or something. It's as a money house. So, and it's also how we feed ourselves. So one way of how we feed ourselves goes away and a new way comes in. And again, this is a way that we've been choosing to operate in a way that, like, for instance, you're in a job that you have to stay up all night for, and it's a night job, and you just can't operate this way. It's where you're giving too much. You're harloting yourself with this job because you just think you can't make money any other way. So it's not healthy for you, or it's not. Or you could meet a person at work in your job. A new eclipse comes in, you let go of one way of earning money, and then again, depending on the rest of your chart, you could end up a new way of making money, and feeding yourself is definitely coming in. I've had an eclipse in my second house. I watched it like a hawk. It's okay. You're going to be okay. It's actually way better the way that's coming in to make money. It's scary in between all these eclipses because we don't see the new way yet. It's foggy. It's Neptunian. It doesn't have a shape yet. So it's like this new way of making money. You can't quite see it. So it's scary, eclipses in the second and eighth, but you're going to be okay. Saturn is always protected. Jupiter is in this eclipse protecting us, by the way, because it's not a catastrophic eclipse. If challenges show up, you're going to be okay. So this eclipse basically is changing. You may quit a job. The relationships in this job, they're just not healthy. It's toxic. Something's toxic about how you're having to operate here, where you have to really give more than you deserve. You're working harder than you're being paid. This is about self-value. And then you let go. This can often happen in eclipse in the second house. You start to say, hey, I'm not going to work for this kind of money, and they treat me like shit. I'm quitting. And then you suddenly think, what am I going to do? I'm screwed. You quit on an eclipse. And then all of a sudden your vibrations are more, you don't know it because you feel like it's fear-based, but actually that's very courageous and high faith-based energy. And then you're really higher vibrational now. So you're attracting a much higher vibrational income source that you feed yourself. That's much more in alignment. You value yourself better, and you're letting go of relationships associated to this way of working that are not respectful to you, do not value you. So, and then this energy pulls you into divine partnership, a relationship coming in. Shadow aspect would be, obviously, you get into a conflict and it's very rough and it's not a very good experience. I do know someone who's going through this, and they're really they did a reading for them yesterday, and I told them, just don't worry, just let go, just let just let it all flow, because the changes are in motion. There's very little you can do. So she's like, I'm quitting this job, and I said, go for it. Just relax and just know that you don't have to worry about it, you know. So good luck with that one. There's nothing to worry about. You will get through it. I've had eclipses in the second house. You live.
I feel like it depends on the person too, because
Yeah.
there could be a potential that they don't see where it's actually quite positive, where it doesn't have to be quite as painful as what you're describing with this one client that you're reading for. So yeah, it's so interesting how it can show up so differently for people. Okay. White water
especially
lily.
when you can't see the new way that's coming in to make money. It's like trust.
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
scary. It's scary. I totally get it. Okay. So white water lily is okay. So with this one, what I find interesting with this one is that it is it's a reminder to be aware, to have an awareness of what's happening around you, awareness of synchronicities, awareness of the magic that exists in the world. And I think this ties in with what we were talking about just a moment ago, where there is a leap of faith aspect that might need to be played out, and trusting and knowing that there's magic all around and looking for it. Having a sensitivity to others, because when you have that sensitivity to others, that might be a connection that you need, that allows you to see your own value and your worth in a whole new way through the lens of somebody else, or through the lens of having a connection with another person, conversation with somebody else. And it brings in a feeling of being more connected to other people. You know, when it comes to, when I think of the second house, your value, you know, the way you see yourself and how you can then maybe advocate for yourself, for the financial support that correlates with that, that feels very connected. And this flower, the white water lily, it's just this like bright, look at me, but it's pure. There's no ulterior motive. It's just very much I know what my worth is, and I would like to be compensated appropriately, and being happy about it. I don't know. That's maybe not as eloquent a way of describing the energy that I'm seeing.
Well, it does that center chakra, you know, being in our power, like believing in ourselves. Eclipse for
the solar plexus for sure. Yeah. Nice.
And you know, these eclipses are changing our paths, and we're going in directions that we wouldn't think we should go. And so it's almost like we're stepping into with that Pluto thing there. That Pluto trine is really showing us that we're in our power. We don't have to give our power away to relationships or other people or work, or, you know, and step into the true path that our soul wants to be on.
Yeah.
So, okay. So for
Libra.
So expect the major endings, major new beginnings in your first house, or wherever you hold, if you're Sun Libra, whatever house that's in. So basically, you know, whole new identity, releasing complete old negative, codependent, lust-based, the whole deal, you know, completely more in alignment to true spiritual love. Again, with your ruling planet in Scorpio, there's going to be an emotional, perhaps triggering. Again, we got to add that Scorpio Venus there could be triggering and pain involved, and relationships that you thought were your true one weren't, and it could be pain. But you're being aligned, you're being guided to the true heart. You got your North Node in the 8th house, so in the 7th house. So it's like your destiny is before the North Node leaves your 7th, you're going to be aligned to your soul contracted partnership, marriage. Again, these are all contracts and partnership agreements that Libra have are under scrutiny at this point, to see that they're in alignment, and that there's even agreement, that nobody thinks they're right or wrong. Like there's a clearing of all unharmonic connections, really, because you're releasing that in your first house. So you're becoming much more authentic and seeking the true authentic relationship that's spiritual. Shadow aspect could be a conflict. Something shows up, a relationship ends. You complete. That is definitely happening. If you're in the wrong relationship and you're Libra, you're ending. They're going to end. They're going to fall apart. But also your perception of what your ideal relationship is going to shift. You're going to be out of your headspace, out of self-will, because these transits are teaching us to be out of self-will and into soul will. So you're going to have a complete and utter transformation from head perception of relationships to soul. You're making a total paradigm shift in your idea of what a relationship is and what it feels like. So, because all our lives are going to feel completely different after these eclipses. So in the Libra house, you're going to feel completely different. And then you have a transformation in your fourth house. Like you're just completely re-seeing what your true family is. I mean, this is mega eclipse for Libra. I think I should stop right there.
I mean, yeah, because I thought that you were done with that, because I mean, it's just that's big, significant.
It is.
So the squash blossom for Librans activates liberation, which I love for them, feeling liberated, feeling free in their body. There's a healthy expression of their sensuality and their sexuality and their creativity. So their creativity will allow them creative expression and the birthing of new ideas. So if you think about this in terms of yourself, first house of self, it is almost like a rebirthing process in a way. And the ability to approach your life and what you like to create for your life from a totally different vantage point. So I really love this squash blossom for Libra. I mean, and this even looks almost like a birth canal or a like one of those like a place where it's like you kind of look over the edge, not a well, but kind of like I don't know. It also reminds me of like those water slides where they're completely encased, and you're standing at the top trying to decide whether or not you want to go down because it seems really scary, but at the same time you are exhilarated by the idea of it. It's almost like letting go enough, feeling free and liberated enough to just say, I'm just going, I'm doing it. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And I also feel like that's a transformation because Libras it's an air sign. So they're going from head thinking to the passion, the divine love, the one that comes from the internal, that's moving them, that's reigniting it's, that fire. So it's like they're leaving that headspace and going to the internal passion.
Oh, passion.
It's getting hot in here.
All right.
Okay, Scorpio. Can you see that, Scorpio? All right, for Scorpio, let's see, we're going to go, you've got Venus in your first house. So there's a good chance you're going to get triggered because Venus Scorpio can be quite triggering and get quite jealous. So if you're in the wrong relationship, you'll probably end the relationship. It will probably find out they're cheating on you, or maybe you cheated, but there's some kind of revelation of truths around perhaps toxicity being cleared in pattern, or a relationship that's toxin falls away. But basically, you're clearing lower base chakra energies. A lot of reads I've been doing lately, we're letting go of the strength card, which is kind of lust. And it doesn't, even in your own relationship, you can be in a very divine partnership, but you somehow are somewhat leaning on the lustful aspect of the connection or something, and validation through that. And that's what's going away here, because we're letting go of that karma in relationships where we are, this is most likely past life karmic stuff because it's the 12th house. So you're going to get rid of karmic relationships, past life relationships that are absolutely just to prepare you for your divine mate. But if you are in your true relationship, you're going to have a spiritual sort of release of any way that karmically you're try not to use that word, imbalance, but let's go ahead and say that where you are in some sort of karmic, because Scorpio's water signs tend to like their relationships, and they can be very sensitive, and they can be quite, whether they're paranoid triggered, they can be quite triggered and paranoid. So they're letting go of some sort of patterning of toxic love, past life, or a toxic pattern within their relationship where they're triggered, where they're, and they're going to lighten up on something and become more, shall we say, less creating toxic dynamics in their relationship. So even if you're in a really divine relationship, there could be some tendency for a Scorpio to cause drama in their relationship. Well, they're going to let go of that. But whatever fears in them, but again, you're going to be in the right relationship. And also it could be travel and a whole new spiritual perception around relationships, around what is, you're going, Scorpio can be quite physical. So you're going from a physical focus to your relationship to seeing a spiritual. So you're seeing the soul connection between you more than the material connection between them more. That would be another way to look at it. That would be but a shadow aspect could be a really awful, horrible breakup. That is really, pretty traumatic. Or the end of this breakup, the resolve of it is over with. You're done with this whole horrible, toxic situation. But some way of operating in relationships that is karmic and throws you out of alignment, where you're not following your soul here in connection, in the balance, or in the agreement, has to be fixed and is fixed. Hope that makes sense.
I'm just still chuckling about the dramatic breakup.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay.
Drama.
I mean, not that that's funny, but it was just the way that you presented it just
Yeah.
made me think it was funny. Okay. So we have the papaya flower for Scorpio, and this so beautifully illustrates what you were saying a moment ago, Madeline, staying away from the balance word, but finding a way to bring the yin feminine and the yang masculine energies into a place of equilibrium in order to flourish within your life, within your relationships. And this feels to me very Libran in that way of taking these aspects and bringing them into a place where you feel powerful in the gentleness of having those in a very simpatico place. This also has a connection to collaboration. So, working with other people, not competitive, so collaboration to me feels a little more feminine. Competition feels a little bit more masculine, as far as just it can be a bit more of an aggressive energy. So there might be an opportunity for Scorpios to collaborate with other people and that could be very supportive and they're flourishing and they're bringing themselves into equilibrium with the feminine and the masculine parts of themselves. And this is a very gentle flower, but there's a lot of potential, it looks like, in this flower to me, that exists, that's possible.
Yes, and it does seem like the inside and the outside are connected, same color. So it's almost like, and if you have an eclipse in your 12th house, it can be your past life relationship comes in. Like that's when I met my true person. So your true person, which is the person that's soul aligned, can definitely come in these eclipses. You can meet that person.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's a Libra, it's a Venus eclipse, it's a relationship thing. All right, so now we're going to look at Sagittarius, who hopefully are really doing great right now because Jupiter in this eclipse brings some has impact on this eclipse. And also we have all that, what else is happening in this Jupiterian thing? I guess that's really just the thing, but Pisces, my sun is Pisces and double Sag, so I'm thinking a little bit of Pisces. But the thing for Saggies is happening in your 11th house. Really nice, really nice. that's kind of like, you're definitely going to say goodbye to a bunch of friends or a friend group that are not in alignment, that you've been working too hard for, that you think you need to be friends with, or that you have to somehow, go out of your way for, so that everybody likes you because you think work is connected to that, or just you feel obligated, again, that whole theme. And so now a true tribe comes in that is super supportive, that is very much supportive of a long-term goal, because that's the 11th house. And it's very much a house of like gains and recognition and notoriety. And so we're really breaking through something. It's the house of Uranus, which is a little bit of a wild card. So it's kind of hard exactly to predict, but it is definitely liberating you. This tribe that's coming in are going to set you free in some way that opens your life up to more of a path that's truly your soul's destiny, the way you really want to live, the life here, more the life that you truly want to live. That's a really great eclipse. Other than that, the shadow aspect could be conflict involved with old tribe group, and it could be, the eclipses are drastic changes. Let's say you're living with nearby a tribe group or whatever, and it falls out, you got to go find somewhere else to live. But don't worry, a new place to live will show up and be there for you. We are protected in these eclipses, unless you're supposed to leave the planet right now. If you die on an eclipse, you do see people dying on eclipses, but that's your time. So Sagittarius, Jupiter is a positive aspect. So you can pull your birth chart and look and see what Jupiter's doing to your Sagittarius planet. While Jupiter's in your, I'll tell you, it's in your 4th house. So again, moving a whole new way, a whole new life, family around you, a new family, a big change for Sagittarius and Pisces in this eclipse as well as everybody. I just get recharged with that change view every time I do a sign. I'm like, whoa. But anyway.
Well, I mean, Sagittarius is directly connected to you, not just to your sun, but for you as well. So I could see where you'd be feeling a charge around this one.
Yeah, because I'm Cancer rising, and so that Libra's in my 4th house. And with that Pisces over my Sagittarius have Pisces over their 4th, and we just had an eclipse in the 4th, so it's like double hitting my 4th. But
so wouldn't be surprised if that move happens in some form.
Yes, I'm a little tight in this, and I love my little apartment, but I feel like I'm ready for a little bigger space.
You do have a cute apartment. I could see, but I could also see where you would be like, okay, I need a little more space to fly.
Yeah. In the last literally the last 3 days, I'm like, dang it, I'm feeling like I've outgrown. I need more. I need space. I'm gonna go rent a storage space and just put all my stuff in it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I feel like that sometimes too. Like, oh, just too much stuff. Okay, so Sagittarius, here is your flower, the nectarine blossom.
Oh.
So the nectar, and it's so funny, this flower, the message is literally, you're among friends. Talk about an 11th house thing.
Wow,
so
that's funny.
Yeah, so this is a very friendly, friend-related flower. This flower also, there might be a desire for you to do nice things for other people, to be of service. So, maybe it is like you're around, you're not around the group, the tribe that really is aligned with and resonant with the things that really feel close to your heart, the things that you would like to share and to be of service to the world, to shine your gifts. That could be the shift of the friends and the people that you're around. And this magnifies affection and softness. So there might be, it might be that the friends group just shifts ever so slightly, because maybe you've come to it with a specific energy where maybe a little more gentleness or softness was required. And that shifts the dynamic within that group too. So the nectarine blossom, a very sweet flower for Sagittarius.
I love that picture.
It feels
want
sweet.
That. Yes.
Yeah.
And in a way, I think the energy of that flower is like because the 11th house is being out in social media. So it's kind of like, it is a social media thing. So maybe your social
Yeah.
media takes off, that's another thing. The cards always kind of help me. So it's kind of like the Sagittarius is being kind of happy on looking good.
Hey,
I
perfect.
don't know why I thought that.
Right.
All right. So, all right.
Capricorn.
So Capricorn, all righty, Capricorn.
Did you find the card?
I did.
Oh,
Capricorn.
good.
Yep. Capricorn.
I know some Capricorns are going to love this already.
Oh, good.
For the 10th house focus, holy shamoly. Yeah.
Let's take a look. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So Capricorns are cardinals. So their whole lives are changing again, like the Cancer, the Libras, and the Aries. Every part of our chart is going to shift. They're cardinal people, so their lives tend to always change in probably around winter, because Capricorns usually have most of the planets hitting their chart around winter time. So yeah, so their 10th house, they're going to obviously, you're going to let go of a way of working or a career thing. So that is very impactful for Capricorn. They're going to, to have Libra over their 10th house. I'll tell you something interesting about Capricorns. My ex-husband was Capricorn and he had Mars Libra, and they are awesome to work with because they can be because they have Libra over their 10th house, and Capricorns are very, their career solid, motivated, which is a good thing. I don't want any Capricorns to get mad at me. It's a good thing. We need Capricorns. They create the structure in the world, okay? So their careers are changing to something that's more in alignment now. And again, there's going to be a propensity for Capricorns to throw themselves out of alignment to secure their careers, in the sense that they may give too much, they may work. And my ex-husband did that. He would work hours and hours and hours all night long in a recording studio because he wanted his people to be happy. And so where are we giving too much in our workforce to create more security, to secure our situation, and where we're throwing ourselves into more, shall we say, like security-based choices rather than things being really in alignment with our soul. And also you could meet your true person here through your work environment. Your love could be here and that you meet up with, or you really do come into a rather rough. Now I am getting, contacts from people. Some people are hitting these eclipses hard, and they really are going through kind of a bit of a tower card over that 10th house where they get fired. There's conflicts. People are fighting. They got to leave. It's all becoming such a mess because the eclipses everybody's lives are being impacted from these eclipses. So it's like other people are going through this too. So in your work environment, there's a big ending and a big new destiny, and a big, much more in alignment with a work environment where you don't have to people please or be somebody better than you are, or feel like you have to impress people in your work environment. Like something that really flows, you can relax. It's much more in alignment with how you really want to live. And by the way, these eclipses do create more security. So this next, and this is going to be important for Capricorn, this next new beginning in their 10th house is going to create a much less stressed and more feeling of long-term. It feels right. Like it's going to feel right and safe. There you go. But prepare ye for conflicts, and you can prepare in advance by knowing that there's a Mars element, that there can be a fight, there can be, and by the way, the new job that comes in, you may have to compete for, but you're gonna be okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we have the bird's foot lotus for Capricorn, and this activates contentment. The message is take charge. So to feel the sense of contentment, there's a little bit of take charge that needs to happen with them. And that's easy enough for Capricorns to do. This really supports a sense of ease rather than worry. It also is a reminder to expect the best possible outcome. So if you're in a bit of a flexy place, or things are looking like you're not sure how it's going to go, trust that the best outcome that's possible is available to you. And there will be a feeling of lightness and brightness. I also get a little bit of optimism from this flower. That feeling of the possibilities and the potential that exists, and then feeling contentment. Because for Capricorns, I think for all of us, we like to have options. We don't, maybe not too many that it feels overwhelming to decide, but we like to have some control over what we're choosing and how things are going in our life, particularly for Capricorns who have a very big work focus in their life, and that's important to them. It's a really it's a place where they derive their sense of value and worth and their sense of security. So I feel like it's just feels really good.
You know what? Pluto is in this eclipse, and I really think there's a theme going through here where they're in their power, because we're getting that yellow color, which is very much the solar plexus. So and Pluto is all about getting our power back. So it's almost like Capricorn are going to get their power. They're going to be in their power around their work environment. They're going to get their power back from giving it away in their work environment. In a way, that they're going to there's going to be a transformation for them because Pluto's in their first house again. But I wanted to say something.
Yeah,
I forgot to say. So every no, I'm
okay.
It's about you and me, because before we come on here, I go, I want to psychically wear the same shirt that Amalia is wearing. And I forgot, because I said this about 2 days ago, just because we had done it a couple of times. I said, and this right before we did this, I was wearing a different shirt, and I said, no, I'm going to wear white. And just the message came in so strong. And I just realized you're wearing freaking white.
I literally, about maybe a minute ago, less than a minute ago, I realized we were wearing the same shirt, same color shirt too. That's hilarious.
So
that we both
and
have
I literally say I'm going to
energy.
psychically wear the same color as Amalia. And we've done stripes at the same time. We've done black at the same time.
We have. It is kind of funny. It just that just goes to show everyone that we're in sync before we come in. And even if we don't wear the same color, we're still in sync.
But so far, we've been in the same similar shirts for like multiple times in a row. If I'm correct, I have to go back and look. But
I mean, I feel like we've been slightly different, but it's still kind of the same sort of vibe.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's weird. It's so fun.
Okay. I put the card up for Aquarius already. Yep. So this is going to be in your 9th house. So that's fabulous. That's so a lot of Aquarians have Libra over their 9th house, and they're good at the law. They tend to be involved in law or business partnerships and things. But an eclipse in your 9th house can be a later in life partner. It's the house of Jupiter. It can be a law case. You've been involved in a long, arduous law case, and you have thrown yourself out of your beliefs around it, and now you're just no longer willing to compromise your beliefs in law. I actually do happen to know a couple of Aquarians who are quitting their jobs in law because they want to be more authentic, and something in your belief system changes drastically in this eclipse, where you're over giving and in partnership agreements. This could be tough in a way. There could be a loss of a case, or I would say that a big shift in willing to compromise your beliefs. In other words, something goes against your belief. Something's been going, and you've been doing it anyway because again, it's a harlotry type energy. Now, we're all a little bit of a harlot in this eclipse. Our patterning in that area is going to be released, and you're going to probably want to have a return of your power around some kind of a belief system. You for instance, you could be very religious and your family's very religious, but then you see something and you learn something that absolutely makes you never want to believe in that religion ever again. A politics, this could be a political thing. You could, because the 9th house is politics as well. So you could have a complete shift. You could change politics. You should go from the left to the right. You could do like me, where I'm apolitical. I'm an atheist in the religion of politics. My father was an atheist to religion, and I'm not religious either. But I tell him I'm an atheist to politics, because that feels like a religion, because there's like a person that everybody's pointing to, not God, right? So you may have this big spiritual awakening where you really see things. It's a big awakening. It's very spiritual. You could start learning astrology, start becoming, when I have eclipses in my ninth house, is when I started astrology, when I started working as a tarot reader. I mean, there's a theme going through the ninth house, which is very spiritual, which is very higher consciousness, the law. You could win a lawsuit too, depending on how this looks in your chart, where you fought for your belief and you're going to succeed despite the odds. But the ninth house eclipses is very much an awakening and empowering and a growth in our concept and consciousness of the universe and the cosmic order, and having some sort of faith restorative sort of experience where we suddenly become more of our authentic soul's awareness of the higher purpose of our soul here. It's a Dharma house. So it's like we step into our mission, into our calling more. So, and if there's any conflict, again, beliefs, conflicts and beliefs. But again, if there is a conflict and you get into an argument with someone in the family and the big shift in belief, I just saw one person say their brother changed their mind about history and about Tartaria and all this kind of stuff. And they didn't believe it. And now they totally believe it. You suddenly believe, you suddenly see it. What'd you got?
Well, Aquarius, I feel like this is very,
wow,
very in tune with awakening.
Yeah.
That in spiritual fulfillment and the reminder that you are divine. Aquarians really are here as these divine way showers in a sense. And so this is just reminding them of that. Hopefully any Aquarians that are watching this, they see this flower and it awakens something in them.
I have a good friend Aquarius who tells me she watches our videos. Hello.
Well, and comment and let us know if this is opening up
Yes.
something in you, because even the flower is opening up. So the other part of this that I really want to highlight is that this is a time to focus on your highest aspirations. Awaken yourself to your highest potential and look beyond what's obvious. So it might not be like that pathway to your highest potential might not be an obvious one. It might take a circuitous route. Look and see what's there beyond, and great eclipse vibe here, look beyond what you see is there. Something might be, yeah, just we'll leave it there.
Well, this is the 144th eclipse on this series of eclipses. And we're entering the age of Aquarius, which is about 144 light workers. So basically Aquarians are going to step into their missions and step into what they're here for. And all you have to do, Aquarius, is look at your Libra house, which is the ninth house, which is about spirituality, which is guiding us forward into the new they're supposed to bring up our vibrations. The ninth house is all about faith restoration, raising the vibrations of the planet, galvanizing, bringing us together, eroding the differences, political differences, religious. You get me going on what energy of Aquarius is about, is liberating us. We're all the same, both sides of the politics. We both want the same thing. Every human being on this planet wants a roof, water, food, and a healthy way to raise our children, and a decent education or whatever, a decent quality. But everybody wants the same thing. The age of Aquarius is when we wake up and we erode those differences, because there are no differences. There is no separation between us. We give those labels, religions, politics. So the Aquarians are here to galvanize that, to restore us to a unity, to the unity consciousness. That's the ninth house, unity consciousness. Get me going on that. All right.
Okay, Madeline stepping off her
my pulpit.
Yeah. Pisces.
My ninth house pulpit. That's the ninth house, is a pulpit. All right, so there's Pisces. So Pisces, I'm glad you're all hopefully still with us here today. Thanks for hanging in there, although I am going to do timestamps, so that helps. Pisces are very activated by that last eclipse still. Their lives are still in everybody around Pisces. We're in gateway, so we're in between two eclipses. So it's hard to see which eclipse is bringing which changes. But this eclipse here, you're having a whole life identity change. Who you are is completely changing from that last eclipse. And then in this, you have Libra over your 8th house. Wow. So this is kind of a liberating house. In other words, an eclipse in your 8th house liberates you from a major fear that's holding you back. Also, you could get, somebody could pass away. I just throw that out there. But also you're going to have a fear shake you pretty much to the bone. Like there's going to be a fear. Now, again, it often is just in your perception. It's not real. And so you will be protected with an 8th house eclipse, but you could experience some crisis of finances, but the solution is there. Now it's Libra. So let's give an example. Pisces, my son, I love him very much, but he's a little bit too generous and he can overpay. 8th house, Libra, give too much, pay too much, be a little bit too generous. And then he's out of balance and he's in debt. So a little bit of some of that crisis or out of balanceness comes back into, shall we say, fairness, where you're not giving too much. Now, the other side, the positive side of this eclipse is that debt is eradicated. An inheritance come in that helps you out. Some kind of a contract from an outside, some kind of a contract. My son is actually receiving a contract on this eclipse to be a resident at a concert place. So we're seeing a breakthrough in the lives for Pisces, but they are having to let go of ways that their fear, because that 8th house where they're out of balance about finances, because Pisces can have, you know, with that Libra over their 8th house, they're going to have a tendency to throw themselves into a state of anxiety around money. Everybody can. But air over the 8th is going to be a little more, so you're going to really release some sort of old habit. You're going to suddenly wake up so that you can trust. It's just your fears that are making you feel, because your destiny is going to, somewhere around your chart, you're really upgrading to a much better, more abundant destiny here. There's money coming in. Something really beautiful is opening up for Pisces. So you're going to realize that you fear this nervous fear that you have around money is really kind of dropping your vibes, and and it might show up, but then you get over it. And the energy of Scorpio is that you survive a fear of complete annihilation. That is exactly what's happening to my son. You feel like you're going to totally just die of starvation, and then watch it bubble up. Watch the universe throw you a nice big loaf of bread. So Pisces, you'll bubble back up, you'll survive this, but it's going to feel like you're dying. And in that process, that death and rebirth occurs where you become completely out of your ego and you realize your ego's doing this. And to trust, you are upgrading here, big time. There you go.
Okay, well, Pisces.
I hope that helped, Pisces.
This is a big time card. This is like, hey, we're not messing around here.
Yeah.
This is the fire star orchid. The message is to think outside the box. It's this fearless creativity, seeing beyond what they've seen before. So when you're kind of being pushed to your limit, pushed to the edge of, oh my gosh, it's too much, and there's all that fear. I feel like what is that? I forget the saying exactly, but basically, like when you really need something, it really, necessity is the motherhood of invention. That's what I was trying to think of. Like that's when you become creative, when you feel like, oh my gosh, I've got no choices here. I got to come up with something. That's when you go into that thinking outside the box, that sense of fearless creativity. So this card is a reminder for Pisceans to innovate something, to be ingenious in some way, and to tap into the reservoir of wisdom that they have access to as Pisceans, and move forward by utilizing these energies of boldness and brightness, and kind of like, I don't want to say the opposite of what they tend to carry, because we've talked about before, Pisceans can be a little pessimistic, not quite as optimistic, but so it's almost like we're going to flip that a little bit now and be able to see the bright spots that you haven't been able to see up until this point, but that exist if you become aware invite yourself to become aware of them.
Yes, and this really gives off the energy of believing in yourself, that red energy, that confidence, and Pisces are sort of stepping into their confidence, believing in themselves. Because I was just having lunch with a Pisces, and they were saying how they were Pisces can be very low self-esteem because they're not A-type personalities. They're mellow, they're connected, they're intuitive. They want to take it slow, and so this eclipse has been you're going to have another series of eclipses coming in. You know, the next set of eclipses are hitting their 7th and the 1st. So they're really transforming and becoming more empowered versions of themselves and stepping into belief, self-belief. That's why they're having more success. But there was something I was going to say about this eclipse.
For Pisces or just in general?
For everybody, but I guess it's gone. So I was like, oh, well, it's all right. I'll let it go. If it comes back, it comes back.
Okay. Was it related? Was it something that sparked your thoughts that was related to Pisces?
Yeah, but it was also sort of related to Pisces, but also really good for everyone to know about this eclipse. And it was a message that just slipped out of my head.
Did it have to do with creativity or thinking outside the box or seeing beyond what they've seen before? One other thing for Pisces too is that with that firestar or orchid is that it is a flower that creates a solid foundation of courage. Like they'll be able to step courageously through this.
Yes, and Jupiter is their ruling planet, which is also and Neptune, and they're very active in this eclipse. So they're going to really feel this shift. Plus, they just had an eclipse. So Pisces are definitely feeling this eclipse double than everybody else, I think.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
And Libra, but that's all right. I forgot what I was going to say. I'll let it go for now.
All right. Well, as we're signing off, if it comes to you.
Yep. I'll tap it in this comment.
Yeah. So anyway, we're grateful that you all were here with us today. Let me and see if anyone had any questions before we wrap up. No questions. Okay, cool. All right. Just didn't want people to feel ignored. I was kind of looking back and forth, but yeah, we're grateful you're here. We are wishing you the most beautiful eclipse blessings and wishes, and be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Thank you to Madeline for the timestamps. Yes, pop over to both of our pages and like them. It really helps. It helps us. And if you want to get in touch with us, there's information below. If you're interested in the strawberry blossom elixir, I will drop a link in the comments, and you can get 10% off if you use my name, Amalia, just my first name. I think that's it. Madeline, did it come to you?
No, it's gone.
No.
It's
okay.
All right. It's Neptune is causing us to not be so much in our brains. So
yeah.
Good luck with this eclipse, everybody. And thanks so much for watching, everybody that comments. I love it when I get emails back and people tell me they watch. I'm so glad to hear that. So thanks, everybody.
Yay.
So great. So
all right. Thank you all so much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and we'll be talking about the Aries full moon.
Oh, okay.
Very exciting. All right.
All right.
See everyone soon. Bye for now. Okay. Do you want to keep recording?
Oh, yeah. Stop that.
I mean, you can.